Howdy boys, it's NPC and today we're going to be going over my top 5 best customizations that I've ever created in GTA Online. I personally think all of the cars that I make are beautiful, but something about these 5 just really stand out and I'm going to show them off to you guys. And then I'd love to hear what you guys think about them down in the comments below. And before we hop into things, drop a like if you guys enjoyed the video. That would really help it out and help it get the attention that it deserves. And if you guys really end up liking it, I would not be opposed to doing a part 2 because I'm pretty excited for this. So, behind me, as you can see, is an orange Infernus with a race yellow pearlescent. This is not my vehicle. That's my vehicle. This is the Obey 10F widebody. Absolutely stunning readaptation of the R8 since it's been so many years since the original 9F came out, which was supposed to be the first R8.
Now that's an interesting car.
Right, dude? That's what I'm saying. My 10F widebody is in a beautiful candy red with, I think it's some sort of really dark pearlescent. It's got to be either like black or graphite or something that doesn't stand out and cover the white accenting. But I basically tried to throw in as many forged options as I could because I think forged looks really cool and is a great alternative to carbon. It's like a new thing. Rockstar's been doing a really good job at adding more unique customization to each vehicle, and I wanted to take advantage of that with the brand new R8. Of course, this one is a Benny's vehicle, so it has even more customization than usual. I've got access to the Benny's rims, which I took with the spindles. And typically, I'm not a big fan of throwing chrome rims on my cars, but I think this one looks really nice because the car has a wide body kit with bolts, and then these rims are bolted, you can see right there. And then for the secondary colors and the rims, I went with an ice white to match the interior, which was all to match the white pinstripe livery, which I thought looked astounding. This is probably one of the coolest pinstripes I've ever seen. It's a more simplistic showcase of the pinstripes than you see on some other vehicles, like the Tahoma Coupe, for example. But I like that it's a little more minimalistic. I think it looks really cool and is more of like an assist to the vehicle rather than it being a liability. Of course, I had to go with the titanium exhaust because the colored tips are just so cool. And finally, for the splitters and skirts, we bordered that with the secondary color to give it more of like a highlight, kind of how like graffiti artists do with neon art pieces. I don't know what to call them. I love the way that the 10F widebody looks. I don't think it looks like a GTA vehicle at all, which is why I have it on this list. I think pretty much all of the vehicles on this list they almost feel like they step outside of the GTA realm. Like, this is a car that should be in Forza. Especially this one since it's a Benny's vehicle, but that's it for number 5. Let's move on to the next one. Up next on our list is the Tiramisu Thrax. That was the winner of the Thrax customization battle that I did with Harmon and Twingo. They're my good friends who also do similar car-related things on their channels, so be sure to check them out if you haven't. But we have a series called Customization Battles where we all take the same car and we customize them differently and we pull them out, talk about them, review them, roast each other's vehicles, and then viewers vote down in the comment section below on who is the best vehicle. And this episode in particular was fantastic because there was no outstanding loser. Usually there's someone who's lagging behind a little bit, but in that one all of the vehicles looked fantastic. Mine standing out a little bit more than theirs because they both went for more race-like builds with a colored theme, one being white and blue and the other being black and red, but mine looks a little more luxurious, I guess you could say, which fits the theme I was going for. My initial image for this car was to theme it after tiramisu, which is my favorite dessert. It is no peasant's dessert, let me f***ing tell you, that shit's gas. They said my car had more of Arabian Prince vibes, but regardless, this Thrax stood out the most and I took the cake on that one. The primary color for this vehicle, which is the front section, is in a bleached brown with a straw brown secondary color, and then the pearlescent is a bleached brown as well to keep the brightness of the vehicle. For the rims, I wanted to add a different shade of brown to kind of spice it up, to give it another layer of the cake. So it is a dark brown, dark ivory, that might be what it's called, and I've got super luxes on that. And then the most controversial part, according to the losers of that customization battle, was that I've got a lot of chrome on this vehicle. It's on that trim, the C around the door, as well as the logo on the front end and the mesh. I think chrome brightens up the car. It just makes it look really high end, and I think it suits the car quite nicely. I also opted not to go for a front splitter on this vehicle because I thought they were all too aggressive and they just added too much carbon for my liking, and I didn't want that. Up next is the Invaterra Coquette D10. This is another customization battle winner. As you can tell, there is a lot of detail going on with this one. I've got it in a bright orange with a race yellow pearlescent. The secondary color is not all that prevalent, just being the engine bay in the back, which is also bright orange. Most of the options I picked on the vehicle are carbon, that being the racing splitter with cannons on the front, the racing diffuser, the carbon performance diffuser, which adds the bright orange outline on the very bottom of the colored section on the rear end. That was the exhaust option. Doesn't entirely make sense because I don't know why Rockstar decided to throw the rear diffusers in the exhaust section, but that's how it went. The primary panel on the front end for the grille, which sits right under the bars for some added extra color in the front section. I took the roof off to kind of open up the vehicle a little more and make it a little more sports-like, I guess. Not that this vehicle wouldn't look sporty otherwise, I just thought it kind of suited it's got like a cheetah theme, or like the tiger tooth if any of you guys have played CSGO. That's more so what I tried to base it off of. It's got like a sort of cheetah theme with that. And so to keep rolling with that, I went with cheetah carbon Rs with a bright orange trim to it. And then the thing that makes the vehicle is the livery, which is the black Invaterra stripes. That adds the text on the side. It adds all of the double black lines aside from the main stripe. What would you call that? Emanating from the original black line, I guess, is a good word to describe it, because it seems like it's coming out from it, like it's a faint pulse. But it just gives the vehicle really nice stripes and it gives a ton of detail, which I think is why the card looks so good. And then a couple of minor additions to the vehicle that I think make it look really cool is that I don't typically like canards in my vehicle. I don't think they look really good, but they kind of act as the cheetah's whiskers, and then the spoiler option acts as like little ears. I just love how much freedom I felt like I had when I was creating this vehicle. I think there's so many ways you can take this thing, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Number 2 on our list is the Dubashi Specter Custom. This is a vehicle that you guys probably don't see nearly as much anymore. I think it flies under the radar for a lot of people. It is another Benny's vehicle, giving it a ton of customization options, which I definitely took advantage of. My goal for this build was to make it just look like a really clean, pretty looking tuner vehicle, but I didn't want it to look all that messy, so for the fenders I went with the smooth option as opposed to the bolt-on arches. And then I tried to pick some more tame options where I could. I think this splitter has the most unique shape. It's not the most tame splitter because it's got those racing bars on the fronts, the supports, whatever you want to call them. For the rear end, I left it completely stock because all of the diffusers or rear bumpers were very spiky and it just wasn't suiting the theme of this car. It's got a very soft vibe to it, and the spikes with like crazy amounts of aggression just did not fit that, of course. The vehicle is in a salmon pink with an ice white pearlescent. That is a classic. I think salmon pink and ice white is a beautiful color combination for softer looking vehicles. For the livery, I went with the black. It's almost like a two-tone with less bulky options. It changes the roof color along the sides surrounding the exhaust there, as well as filling out the space in the back. For the spoiler, I went with the GT wing because I thought it was clean and simple. And then for the rims, maybe a little controversial on this one, but I did opt to go for Carbon S racers, which are surrounded by chrome. I know, not the best looking vehicle, but I think it has a more posh look to it. I wanted this vehicle to have like a third layer to it. I think black and pink would have been a little too simplistic for my liking. And since the exhaust was chrome because the titanium ones are barely even noticeable in this vehicle, I thought that the chrome matched it nicely. This is for sure one of my favorite customizations that I've ever done. I'm a big fan of the Specter Custom, the way it looks, how it's more of a small sized vehicle, which is why I was able to take advantage of the salmon pink in my opinion. You guys could see the vision. You guys are reliable like that. I know you can see the creativity. And that's why we win customization battles. And the number 1 spot on our list goes to the Entity MT in a Mariner Blue with a Surf Blue pearlescent. This vehicle is based off of the Koenigsegg Jesko, and I think it captures the essence of that perfectly. Koenigsegg's in general are a little softer looking vehicles than, let's say, a Lamborghini. It's just a little more chill with its style of aggressive features than other brands of vehicles are. For the secondary color on this vehicle, I went with a Harbor Blue. That's the color of the pinstripe, which is the feature that carries this vehicle the most, apart from its beautiful design by default. Like, you can't really deny that. But the pinstripe adds more depth to its sleekness already. And then to match that theme, I also went with softer looking rims with the Sugoi concaves. And oddly enough, I thought the GT splitter ingrained itself into the car really well, which is like the most aggressive splitter option I could have picked, but it adds those two little fangs, I guess you want to call them. And I feel like it just helps the splitter transition into the vehicle really well. And then for the spoiler option, I went with the most aggressive wing as well. Somehow they just make the car still look really soft, and that's cool, I guess. For the exhaust, we went with the titanium, of course. The titanium box looks fantastic, beautifully shaped and placed. And finally, for our livery, we went with the black two-tone. Fills out the space on the side. That's pretty much all that it does. Looks immaculate. That's going to wrap it up for my top 5 best customizations in GTA Online. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed the video, comment down below and let me know what you thought of my builds. Let me know if you would like to see a part 2, because I've got tons of more customizations that I'm really proud of. It was hard to limit it down to just 5. I've already brainstormed ideas for parts 2 and 3 if you guys would like to see that. Sub to the channel if you guys are new. There will be more videos like this coming out in the very near future, and that's about it. So take care, and I'll catch you boys in the next one. Peace!